Hey guys, back for another video. I just wanted to kind of do something different. I watch a lot of movies, and I wanted to start maybe kind of as I finish a week of watching stuff, just go over what I've been watching and give you guys just some brief thoughts and stuff on them. And yeah, I watched a lot of movies this past week, and wanted to kind of go over what all I watched, and start off here with The Black Hole. So this is the Disney film, The Black Hole. I actually have a 8-year-old and a 6-year-old, and we were talking about black holes and stuff. I said, I actually have a movie about that. So we put this in and watched it, and they actually really liked it. And this movie was way ahead of its time, didn't do well in the box office because it was ahead of its time. And it was also Disney's first PG-rated film. So, but really cool movie. I still dig this movie. Gotta love Maximilian, the bad guy in this, like the bad robot. He's really cool looking. But interesting story. It's got some great actors. Anthony Perkins shows up in this, you know, and he's got a big part. And Robert Forster and Maximilian Schell. It's got a lot of people in it. So, but if you haven't ever checked out Black Hole, it's definitely worth owning and getting in your collection. But just a story of these people who get, you know, lost in space, or not lost in space, but they run across this guy who's been lost in space, and they're kind of searching for this lady's father, and they run across him, and he's this guy who's created this army of robots, and there's a twist there that I won't tell you, but army of robots, he's kind of on this ship out in space next to this black hole by himself. He's been studying it and stuff like that, but really kind of eerie. It's got a great score, and yeah, great film. So highly recommend Black Hole if you haven't seen it before. Definitely check it out. So watch that one. Next up, I had never seen this, The Legend of Hell House, the Scream Factory release. So had never seen The Legend of Hell House. Really liked this movie a lot. It had Oliver Reed and, or no, I'm sorry, I'm getting it confused with something else, right? Who is in this movie? Doesn't tell me anything on the back. So Roddy McDowall is in it, okay, and also not Oliver Reed. That was something else I watched, which I'll talk about later. But Roddy McDowall and some other recognizable faces in this. But yeah, good movie. It's about these people who like go to the it's like the haunted house, you know. I mean, they call it like the Mount Everest of haunted houses. So it's like this huge haunted house that has all these people have gone in and died and all this stuff like this. So they go in, different types of people. There's like a psychic and a skeptic, and you know, he's more of a scientist and all these things. And they go in and see what's going on in the house. And one of the characters has already been there before, and he's the only one who survived. So he's very, you know, skeptical. It's got some really eerie moments, and it's pretty creepy. And I liked the atmosphere, and I love movies that are shot like back in the 70s, because this was like 1973. But I highly recommend this movie. I will probably rewatch this at Halloween time because it really has that feel to it. So check this movie out if you haven't seen it, Legend of Hell House. Next up, a movie I didn't really care that much for, and that's The Other Side of the Door. And I've heard like mixed reviews on this one. You can see there it looked really creepy, and it had a very intriguing premise about this husband and wife. They lose their son. They still have a daughter. And they lose their son, and when they lose him, she just can't handle it. I mean, obviously, it's very traumatic, but she can't get over that grief. She's struggling. She tries to commit suicide, and her husband's figuring out how to try to deal with it and all this stuff. Well, their housekeeper, they live in India, which has a very cool setting because it's different. You know, they're over there. He's like an arts or antiquities dealer, and their housekeeper, whatever, who's a native to the area, says, hey, you know, if you want to see your son one last time, you can go to this temple out in the middle of the woods, you know, and you bring his ashes and put them on the steps and knock on the door, and then he will come to the other side of the door, and you can't open the door. That's the only rule. Do not open the door. Well, of course, she opens the door, and, you know, mayhem and foolishness ensue, like scary stuff. There are some creepy moments and stuff like that. I just felt that it was a little slow. It ran a little long, if I can remember. I don't remember how long the movie was exactly. I feel like it was almost a 2-hour runtime, but I thought it could have been shorter and it could have been scarier. But I don't know. I liked the premise. I thought it was intriguing, and I was excited to see this, but I just really didn't care for it that much. Would I rewatch it? Probably not. So, but I'll just keep it in the collection. Maybe someday I'll feel like revisiting it. but yeah, Other Side of the Door. Check it out. I'd love to hear some other opinions if you guys have seen this, but just wasn't for me. So next up, a movie that I absolutely loved. And I've been waiting for this movie forever to come out, and I just showed it to you. And that's Clown, right? The Eli Roth produced movie. Really awesome slipcover on this as well, as you can see. But there's the back of it. I thought this movie was awesome. I loved it. I'd been waiting to see it. It came out over in other countries and stuff like that, but not in the U.S. It didn't have a U.S. release, and a lot of people had gotten a foreign release on Blu-ray. And we finally got it released, and it was everything I wanted it to be. And it actually was not exactly what I expected either, and I still loved it. But really creepy premise about a guy who he's like from what I gathered, a real estate agent, and things like that. And he's got a lot going on. And he's in love with his family life looks good. In love with his wife, good kid, all that. And the clown calls in to his son's birthday party, which he's late to, so he finds a clown suit locked up in this trunk of this old house that he's like getting ready to sell or whatever. Well, he puts the clown suit on and he can't get it off. He can't get the wig off. He can't get the nose off. It's like it's glued to him. The suit won't come off right, and it slowly starts to transform him into this demon. And what I loved about it was that it has this whole mythology surrounding what clowns are and where they originally came from that I thought was so cool. But that's all I'm going to say about it. I highly recommend this movie. The actors were great in it, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. He's a recognizable face in it, Peter Stormare, who's in tons of stuff. He plays kind of this wacky antiquities dealer type guy. So yeah, definitely just go buy this. Clown is awesome. I highly recommend it. I will watch this again for sure. And I love clown movies anyway, but that one was great. I'm going to save that one for last there. Next up, Microwave Massacre, the Arrow video release, which is so awesome. Some of these, and I'll put that up there if you care to read it. So awesome, some of these movies they're releasing on Arrow Video. I saw this a long time ago. I remember renting the big box of this in the video store, like me and my brother, and this movie was crazy. So really liked this movie. A lot of people hate this movie. They say it's the worst horror film ever made. I completely disagree with that. I've seen way worse horror movies than this. It's very tongue-in-cheek and very silly, and the main guy in it, who a lot of people have already talked about this, but what's his name? Vernon. I always forget his name. Jackie Vernon was the voice of Frosty the Snowman in the classic 60s cartoon. And he's the main character in this, and he's this guy, and his wife is she's really into cooking this kind of bizarre food and stuff, and gourmet food, and she has this giant microwave that's just ridiculously huge. Like you could fit a person in it, right? It's just which they do, but it's huge, And he hates the food. His friends bust him at work about it and stuff. He's a construction worker, works on a construction site. And he doesn't like it, and he's tired of his wife doing this, and he just is frustrated. So one day he's pushed too far and he kills his wife, and he ends up getting cutting her up, packing her up, and putting her down in the basement with the other food, and gets confused one day and grabs a thing of foil and thinks it's some food to eat, and it's actually her. And then he's like, man, this is actually pretty good. So he eats his wife and he likes it. Well, then he just proceeds to kill other women and eat their food. And it's funny because he's taking it to work and giving these other ladies to this guy to eat, and they're like, oh, this is the best food I've ever had. But it's just a silly movie with a lot of jokes. That sounds horrific, but it's not, because it's just funny. And the guy in it, he's got this shtick, and it's very much, and I think I heard Mr. Parker say this, but it's very Rodney Dangerfield, and that's totally what I picked up, because it's all these one-liners that are rapid fire that he says throughout the whole movie that make me laugh. I think it's funny. So I highly recommend Microwave Massacre, and of course this is a epic release from Arrow Video. They always do an amazing job. So check out Microwave Massacre if that's your thing. So next up, I got something at the comic shop that I go to, because I also collect comic books as well, that I'll show off real quick, and it kind of inspired me to watch what I watch next, and that's this Batman the Animated Series Phantasm bust. And I was like, dude, that is awesome, because I'm a huge fan of Batman Mask of the Phantasm, and this is the actual bust. Check that out. It's super detailed. You can see like the smoke coming down, and the cape on it is super detailed. Yeah, so get a real close up there. That awesome face. But it's numbered as well, and I got number, what is it here? 365 of 3,000. So there's only 3,000 of these. But yeah, really glad to have that in my collection. But that inspired me to Friday night, last Friday, I asked my wife, you ever seen Mask? She's like, no, I've never seen that. She's familiar with the Batman the Animated Series, but had never seen this. So we watched Batman Mask of the Phantasm, which this movie is still just as good, if not better, than all the times I've watched it before. I never get tired of it. The Joker is amazing in this. Of course, Kevin Conroy is the voice of Batman, and Mark Hamill is the Joker. So love, love, love this movie. So good. Still got my old snapper case of it. And then this movie's only about 70 minutes, so 76 minutes. And I told my wife, well, let's watch another one. And probably my favorite, or my second favorite of all time in the animated movies, because I'm a big Batman Beyond fan, was Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. And this is an awesome movie as well. And it's a short runtime, really, really fun movie. So yeah, watch both of those. I'm not going to say a lot about them because a lot of you guys probably already know. If you don't, definitely check them out. So lastly, and I should do a video just on its own for this, because this movie just, you know, I loved it that much. And that's The Invitation. And I love this movie so much. I watched it and I told my wife, you've got to see this. And then she watched it with me again. So I watched it really close together, noticed so much more stuff. And basically the premise is that this guy and his wife have lost their son just in this tragic, he died tragically at a birthday party, and he ends up splitting up with his wife because of the grief and all that, just wrecks their marriage. And yeah, he moves on, and the opening of the movie is him and his girlfriend, the dad and the father that lost his son, and his new girlfriend, and they are going to a party, a dinner party that's being given by his ex-wife and her new husband, boyfriend, whatever. So, and they've been gone for 2 years. They haven't heard from them for 2 years or anything like that. So they go to this party, and yeah, crazy stuff ensues. And I don't want to say a lot about this movie because I don't want to spoil anything, but he goes to the party, and there's a lot of his older friends that he hasn't seen in a long time there that were friends of him and his wife's. And it's in his home that he used to live in. So a lot of memories are coming back about his son, and it's hard for him to deal with. And there's some really strange things going on with the people and what this invitation is all about. And this movie is shot perfectly. The acting is just absolutely brilliant in it. Like, I loved every actor, and I didn't even know. I had to look these people up because I didn't even know most of the actors. Some of them had familiar faces, but the only guy I knew was he was Frances McDormand's husband in Fargo. Like, he was one of the guys in this, so I knew who he was, but everybody else I didn't really know. But this movie is just brilliant. It's probably my favorite movie of 2016 so far. I absolutely loved this film. I would watch it over and over. It has that I just want to see it again and again because I notice new stuff each time. And it's got a lot of big twists and turns in it, and it's fantastic. And this was a release put out by Draft House Films, so it's got reversible cover art there, and it comes with a really thick booklet, and it's a 2-disc set. You can see there. I highly recommend getting this. And it's on Netflix right now as well, so you could watch it on Netflix if you want to do that. But watch this as soon as you can. I would definitely call it a horror film for different reasons. It's a thriller, horror, slow burn. Worth it. Worth it. Totally worth it. Love this movie. Highly recommend it. Can't say enough good things about it. Anyway, so that's what I've been watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thought I'd do something different, and I'll be doing more of that. So everybody have a great week, and I'll talk to you later.